Welcome to Tech Talk with Jorie. I'm Chris Mashburn, the COO of Jorie, and our focus today is compliance. And I've got the two most amazing compliance people in the world with me today. Kelly, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. My name is Kelly Long. I am the Compliance Director and Compliance and Privacy Officer with Jorie. As you know, I've been with the company for 2 years now, and my background is all sorts of starting compliance programs from the ground up, fraud, waste, and abuse. You name it, I've done it as far as in compliance, as well as medical coding background, which assures for correct billing and payment processing.
Yeah, we like that part. That's good. That was good. And 2 years. That's crazy.
It was 2 years this past Saturday or Sunday that I've been here.
Well, congratulations. That's
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought it just seems like it was just yesterday when.
I know, it feels like it.
Exactly. I've got the most amazing compliance person ever in the world you've got to talk to. Right? Didn't know what you said?
Almost word for word.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Makes me feel good.
Well, we're so blessed to have you on the team, and we thank you for all the work that you've done for us and keeping us compliant. I know you do, and so we're thankful for that.
Absolutely.
All right, and another compliance guru here that does a lot more than compliance. But Zach, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and
Sure.
How long you've been here and stuff.
Yeah. So my name is Zach Gardner. I'm our EVP of Corporate Operations. I've been with Jorie for about 8 years now. So a little bit longer than 2.
Wow.
Kelly and I started.
That doesn't seem like just yesterday.
No,
I will tell you that.
No, it doesn't. But one thing is, Kelly was reminding me earlier, just kind of funny about taking my security training. So we were talking about that. She's got some other people to remind too. But
there she is, our compliance person.
Yep. And then,
it's never ending with me.
Nope.
Well, it's a full-time job, right?
Yes, it is.
But I started here 8 years ago, down mainly in operations, and then got pulled into compliance shortly thereafter. And I've kind of learned, I would want to say, every facet of Jorie, from the RCM operations, client account management, software development, implementing, onboarding, finance, compliance, security, IT, so on and so forth. And I've learned it, but I couldn't do it without a good team, and Kelly's a big part of that, especially on the compliance side. Not that I shut my brain off with it, but she does a lot of all of the day-to-day and month to month and planning. So I couldn't appreciate her more for that.
Yeah, no, I will tell you this. When Zach and I, but pre-Kelly, when we were really trying to get a hold of compliance, it was on my mind nonstop. And I have to say, it's not on my mind. So I think that's a good thing, right?
I think so.
You said it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's critical. So I want to kick us off. We're going to get into some Q&A, but just kind of tee it up. So my background being law enforcement and compliance, that's how I got into healthcare. Everybody says, well, how did you transfer from law enforcement to healthcare? And I'm like, it's a natural transition, right? Everybody does it. But no, but there's a lot of similarities. And I think, Kelly, you and I've even talked about it. And Zach, you and I have about how security is a lot like healthcare, in that there's so much compliance. Compliance is critical. It's something that you have to be thinking about daily, which is why we just said it, right? Zach and I were thinking about it every day pre-Kelly. So, but one thing I think we did right was, at the very beginning, we said that we were going to be compliant. That was not, we were not going to vary from that. We weren't going to, we weren't going to give in to being non-compliant. So the nice thing is, I remember when I went back to Sal and Arlene one day, and I said, hey, I think we ought to go ahead, and once again, pre-Kelly, I think we ought to go ahead and look at HITRUST. And I remember, Sal, who's just the most supportive person in the world, was like, really? You think we should? Really? And I was like, yeah, I think, if we don't do it now, it's not going to get any easier. I think we ought to just dive in. So I remember that we went into, our SOC 1 and SOC 2, and then looking at HITRUST, and we started when we really didn't even have all of the policies and procedures in place. So it was it was quite the daunting task, but I just remember early on we made that commitment, and I think, Kelly, you tell me, but I think that was probably critical for us, even doing it back then, even not having all the processes in place. Just making that
Absolutely.
commitment back in the day probably set the course.
Yeah. It's so widely regarded as so rigorous. So
Yep.
to have HITRUST, it shows to clients and within our organization itself that we are dead serious about this.
Yep.
Compliance is the utmost importance to us. Security, data protection, you name it. We're going to uphold it, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that we can show everyone by this HITRUST that we've been able to do it, and we've done it successfully.
Yep. No, I love it. All right. So with that, let's dive right into some Q&A. We've got some questions here that Derek, our off-camera moderator, gave to us. So I'm going to try to do this without my readers, just for my own challenge here. So let's get in. Question 1. Let's start from the top. Why is compliance a big part of Jorie AI's DNA? So, Zach, why don't you hit this one first?
Yeah, and I'll kind of tackle this from an operational aspect. I don't know if we could even get within healthcare an operational line off the ground without having compliance there to begin with. And on top of that, something when we were going through our SOC 1, SOC 2, and HITRUST, but more so SOC 1, SOC 2 for me, because I was more intimately involved in that. At the control setup standpoint, I realized that it's not that different than looking at an RCM process. You have to look at it from the beginning and set it up the right way, or you're not going to be able to scale it, number one, and number two, automate it. And I think we've seen that time and time again as we onboard clients where, we might automate their current process and then optimize after the fact. But, if you take the compliance controls we have, they help set up our guardrails and our parameters and our roadmap for onboarding our clients and for dealing with their data in the right way, whether it be how we ingest it, how we process it, transform it, who we're transforming it with, right? Our clearinghouses, our other trading partners we work with, and our major vendors like Microsoft and whatnot. So I would say, kind of back to your question, why is it such a big part? We couldn't be in this space without having it, number one, and number two, you can't scale without some sort of controls, and that's where compliance comes into play. And I think other companies, whether they be in healthcare or not, will sometimes push them to the side saying, well, we'll just, we might have a process, but not knowing if we follow it or not. We were just talking about that with someone that was meeting with us, that it's important not only to have the controls, but make sure you're following them. So compliance assures that as well. So anything you want to say on that? Or
Kelly, I want to bring you in because I think for me and Zach, we think of compliance of being just like Zach just said, it's helpful for us. It's easy. It makes our job easier. Where a lot of people, you hear the word compliance and everybody goes, "Oh no, oh my God."
That's true.
But we don't see it that way. So tell me kind of what your thoughts are of for one thing, why do people think that? And then kind of follow up on Zach's comments about Jorie's DNA and compliance.
Well, I look at compliance as really being a core value of Jorie. It establishes trust and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
When compliance comes along, a lot of times there's this misconception like, oh no, I've done something wrong. But no, compliance should really be, this is what we've done right, and this is what we're going to continue to do right.
Yep.
Sometimes there's little hiccups that come up, hey, and that happens and we deal with it. But compliance is certainly not the bad guy. It encompasses all organizations, but it's definitely the stakes can't be higher within healthcare and technology. So we're definitely needed, but we're here for good and not for bad.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
that helps.
No, that's true. You know what? That's a whole nother podcast right there. Is
Right.
how compliance really can protect us versus hurt
Yes,
us. Right? It is here to
absolutely.
protect all our company and our assets and our people.
Correct. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, let's look at the big word high trust. So once
Yes.
again, kind of going back to the beginning, high trust was something we were committed to and leaned into from the very beginning. It was something that we knew could be a challenge, and with the at the time, we were smaller and we were growing, and we
Hmm.
just leaned in and made that commitment. So Kelly, why don't you just talk to us? Tell us about high trust. What is that? What does high trust even mean? And then kind of walk us through the journey of starting high trust and what it was like going through that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, high trust is basically a comprehensive alignment with multiple regulatory frameworks like HIPAA, NIST, and ISO. To achieve high trust, it requires a really deep dive into organizational risk, control implementations, third party validations, everything to ensure ongoing compliance and data protection. For Jorie alone, we had to satisfy 260 different controls,
Wow.
which ranged everything from encryption to access control to policies and procedures. It was daunting. It was very daunting. And like you stated, Jorie was a smaller organization at the time. So there was a lot of stuff that we had to get accomplished, and we got accomplished quickly. But we wanted to exceed, Jorie wanted to exceed industry standards and prioritize trust and transparency and security at every single level. And by accomplishing high trust and going through that, we were able to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's scary to hear that 260 whatever, right?
Controls, yes.
Controls, yeah. So, Zach, I remember when we were talking about it and first getting into it, the controls. I think you and I were on the call, and we were like, wait, so it's more than 50, it's more than 100, and as we started getting up over 200, I was like,
Yes.
oh, here we go. So, what
Yep.
what were your thoughts about that when you heard that?
Well, my heart fluttered, not, but it fluttered for sure. And just for comparison, Kelly, I wanted to ask you this while you brought up the 260. How many are in our SOC 2? It's got to be half or less.
It's half.
Yeah.
It is half that amount.
Yep.
Correct.
So just for comparison, right, we're doing about double the amount of controls. It does help that we already had our SOC 1, SOC 2 there, but
Yes, it did.
I remember the most challenging and exciting part, oddly enough, being that it was going to have to be a team effort, right? Like
Oh,
compliance
absolutely.
you couldn't put all the policies together yourself, and you couldn't
Nope.
enforce them also. So, um, being able to work with cross-departmental teams, IT, software development, security, which is a part of our IT,
Hmm.
along with our onshore and global teams, was a little bit daunting, but also exciting because we got to bring people together and kind of have them work and establish a cadence of we have to be one team to make this work as an
Right,
organization.
right.
So
Yeah, it allowed me to collaborate with some people that I did not know well when I first started at Jorie, and it's been so rewarding.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. So, tell me about the difference between. So, High Trust came out with a different kind of abbreviated certification, right? So, I know there's, what is it, R1, R2?
There's R1 and then there is R2. R1 is the abbreviated. Jorie decided not to go for that one. Hey, it's from some organizations and it's just not for others. And we went with the R2, which is the most stringent.
That's awesome. So we went with the big one. Dove
Yes.
right in, and I think I remember us talking that through. And I do think, Kelly, you were. Yeah, we knew it was going to lean on you a lot, so we
Yes.
wanted your input on that, and you were like, "Yeah, let's go all in."
If we're going to do it, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. That's the Jorie
Thank you.
way. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask. So I'm Tara's offline here. I'm going to have her step in real quick, do a little guest, jump in real quick and ask her about some operational stuff. So come on, Tara, jump in here. She's giving me dirty looks. I think
of course.
she may have even gave me the one finger wave there. So
Hi, Tara.
hold on, she can't hear yet. All right, can you hear us?
Good morning.
All right, you
Good
got to
morning,
talk
Tara.
into the mic. You got to get.
Oh,
You got
I have
to.
to be
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah.
Is that better?
How are we doing? Is that good? All right, Tara. So you heard a little bit about our conversations about HITRUST and when we first jumped in and went into the Big Daddy recommended by Kelly. So you're operational. You're not involved daily in compliance as far as because you're on the strategic customer side. So just tell us what you see in how Jorie is, how we're handling our compliance and what you see day to day and how that really does help you with our clients too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the first thing hospitals and physician groups ask about is what is your compliance? What are you doing to keep us safe? What are you doing to keep yourself safe? You're handling our data and our information. So they absolutely, it's probably the second question that they ask. First is what can I save them? The next is what is your compliance doing to help me and to help me in our groups and our patients, keep our patients safe.
Yeah. So that's critical. And so how do you may have not heard it earlier, but Kelly and Zach both mentioned the fact that compliance is here to help us. So how do you kind of knowing Kelly's background and what she's done for us on compliance, knowing Zach's background and what he's doing for us compliance, how does that help you in your confidence when we're going to clients and these big hospitals? They're asking about that. Like you said, it may be the first question, it may be the second, but how much confidence do you have to be able to talk to them now, knowing what we're doing in the compliance side?
I have 100% confidence in our team, especially Kelly and Zach. I go to them almost weekly, if not daily, for compliance questions specifically that our customers are asking. So the fact that I have this great team behind us and know that I don't even have to look at their answers. I just know that they're complete and correct and that they're in compliance with SOC 1, SOC 2, and all of the things we had to do for HITRUST.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And Zach, kind of what she just said, I'll kind of parlay off of that. So we get all these big questionnaires that you and Kelly kind of have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of walk us through that journey of what that's like and how. I remember one of the first ones we did. I don't know if it was with the VA or Walmart,
Yeah.
but it was this massive questionnaire.
Yep.
And I can just remember going through that going, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to answer all these questions, much less answer them right. Right.
Yep. Well, now kind of our process starts with you send us your vendor questionnaire. Our first question back is, well, how about we just send you our 3-4 certifications that we have?
Yeah.
And do you still need this? And
Yep.
I think we get one of 2 responses. It's nope, we're good to go, or yeah, you still need to fill it out. And what we find more often than not, and Kelly, you can chime in too, but they're almost replicating either a SOC 1, a SOC 2,
Yes.
or a HITRUST or HIPAA certification or SRA review anyway. So it's still a little bit redundant when we have to send it out,
Right.
but it does give them the validation that we're not only sending them a certification, but answering their specific questions. And now with, AI becoming more and more kind of a standard to implement within hospitals, they're asking more pointed questions around how we're ensuring our AI is not necessarily just compliant, but secure in the sense of, are we giving them the outcomes they're looking for?
Yeah.
I.e. not hallucinating, or if we are, we're able to monitor that level. So Kelly, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
No, I mean, you pretty much covered it up. We're ensuring that everything that we're providing back to them is accurate can be, regardless with AI utilization or not. We provide them the information they need, and it's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So so tell me, Kelly, stepping into an AI company from compliance and AI is really even so new still today. What were your thoughts about that?
I actually had quite the background in it, Chris, by being at 3M for 6 years.
Yeah.
So I was able to bring some of that knowledge over, with the natural language processing and, delving into AI. So it wasn't a tremendous leap.
Yeah.
I had never been with an organization like Jorie that brought together healthcare and technology so complete, which was just new and exciting to me. I just loved how everything, worked together, and you guys just had it collaborated so beautifully. So for me, that was what was exciting when I came over to Jorie. I had my little bit of a background, but you guys just opened the world to me.
Yeah.
Truly you did. And I thought that was wonderful.
That's awesome. We love to hear that. I like to hear that. Okay. So, we kind of touched on the fact that some people think compliance slows us down, and we believe that it's helpful to us. Kelly, I'm going to throw this one to you. So if you kind of taglining off of what we just talked about, what do you think sets us apart when you think about AI in healthcare? And it is all new, right? It's new today. It may be still new 10 years from now. But what do you think the most critical piece is related to compliance, AI, and healthcare all combined?
Oh, absolutely. For the three of them combined, it's transparency,
Mm.
accountability, diversity, and innovation. That is how they work together, but they have to work together to make that. Yeah, we'll have to pause that section. They have to work together to be cohesive.
Yeah.
It just comes down to transparency and accountability when you have those working together.
Sure. And once again, it makes it all flow easy, right?
It gives the forward momentum.
Yeah. I can't imagine being where we're at today, honestly, and saying, okay, guys, let's go get our SOC 1, SOC 2, and HITRUST today, starting today. Does that give you cold sweats there?
Yep.
It kind of it makes my stomach hurt a little bit there, Chris.
Right.
I might tell you it might not be possible.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. No, don't say that.
I know.
All right, Zach. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Developers. I mean, you're in the throes of development. And oddly enough, we're looking at new problems, new issues to solve every single day.
Yep.
How important is it that compliance is already something that's there that you don't have to worry about? How does that help you with the development process?
I mean, it's almost hard to put in words, but I'll do it anyway. I would say a big piece is going back to how we handle data and segregating it out so our clients' data doesn't merge with each other as it's non-de-identified, let's say. The other piece being less about the actual data requirements and more about the process of software development. So ensuring that we're following the right life cycle of identifying what we need to, scoping it, validating, QAing, and then scaling and rolling out so we're not adversely affecting, which is probably the worst thing we could do, our clients' revenue, our clients' processes. They're not coming to us to just automate a process. They're coming to us to help standardize and optimize their processes and their revenue. So doing all that without compliance, I mean, I'll probably keep saying this. I don't know how we could do it. So, yeah.
No, that's great. Well, once again, I think the theme here is we started it back when we were uncomfortable and a little bit afraid of what it meant. And then here we are today. And I just can't, I'm like you, I'm almost like I could repeat and repeat, but I'm so thankful that one thing that Kelly Long is with us. That's
thank you.
Super thankful for that, and thankful for all you do, Kelly.
Thank you.
And I'm thankful that we made that decision. We talked about it, Zach, and we were like, okay, let's go, let's do it.
Yep.
As we were seeing these questionnaires and stuff, so I'm super thankful. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. And I'd like to just do a round robin here and talk about, we hear it a lot. And Tara, Tara hears it probably more than anyone when we get on these calls and we're talking to clients, and we you know we say that we've got our SOC 1, SOC 2, HITRUST. We're all of those things. We've been vetted out by the VA. We got vetted out by Walmart Health. So we've been through all that, and sometimes we do hear clients say, "Well, I think I think some of the other automation we've looked at has some certifications." Um, Kelly, you've looked at all of this. You've been in kind of the automation with 3M
Right.
back in the day, and then came over to healthcare automation.
Right.
Um, you know, what is your thought about where Jorie's at compared to probably? And I know you're going to have to make some assumptions, and I like to make assumptions about
Okay.
our competitors. So, if you had to just kind of look in the crystal ball and say, percentages of AI technologies, and they're so new, there's so many new pop-ups.
Right.
Do you feel like they have the compliance components in place like we do?
It's hard to say, just because I'm not sure their certifications, but I can truthfully say that there's not many out there in this industry, such as Jorie, that have such high standards and against ourselves.
Yeah,
Not many of them have HITRUST and SOC, and they don't go through the HIPAA certification to remain compliant.
yeah,
We don't just meet these regulations, we anticipate them.
yeah.
We want to be ahead of the curve. And I'm not sure how many other organizations have that same viewpoint. I truly hope they all do. But as far as I'm concerned, Jorie's at the top.
Nice. Love to hear that. Love to hear that.
Of course.
Zach, what do you think? You get exposed to a lot.
I do.
I mean, you hear a lot of the technology companies, and you're looking into them. What do you think?
So I think a lot of things, but I'll boil it down to 2 points. One, on Kelly's point about staying ahead of the curve. I noticed this a lot starting really a year ago.
That's our other security measure, our compliance and security. Y'all heard it.
Yep. What was I saying? About like a year ago, right? We started to notice hospitals started asking. Before, they wouldn't really ask about HITRUST. You would just tell them you are HITRUST, and they'd actually be shocked most of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they started to sort of expect it when we had already achieved it, which was
Mhm.
nice because we didn't have to go scramble, so to speak, to obtain it.
Yeah,
The other thing, kind of dovetailing off of that, when you're asking about are other organizations as far along as we are with compliance, if you look at most of the AI companies that have started, and you kind of do a timeline back, when did they start? You could guess 2 years ago they started to go to market. HITRUST in itself takes about 2 years. So they're either just on the precipice of getting it,
Mhm.
or they're nowhere close.
Yeah.
Is kind of the way I would look at it without looking at, breaking it down to percentages. If you just look at that timeline, it's going to be near to impossible that somebody achieves it within that amount of time.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Terry, you hear a lot from customers, and you hear them talk about certifications and compliance. What are your thoughts about just in general, where from a marketing level and talking to clients, where do you think Jorie's at compared to other technologies that they talk about and that we've probably looked into to some degree?
Yeah, I mean, we look into people and other groups, other RCM vendors like us daily, and very, very few are close to what we have. So we get to go into the sales process extremely confident in our team and what we've accomplished in the last few years. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I'm gonna sum it up just from my standpoint and tell you, and I may be biased. I get it. I because we've got the best team in the world, but what I see is even so. I've talked to some of the entities that are the pop ups, and we've even have some of our team, our investment team, bring up different technologies. And so I can tell you this, the ones I've looked into, I, for one, have not seen an AI technology that has high trust. That's first and foremost. I haven't seen one yet. The other thing too is just on the SOC 1 and SOC 2. I think a couple of months ago, one of the companies that we looked into, they were so proud, they were so happy that they had just got SOC 1. And quite honestly, it was one of the companies that the group had asked us about, that they had said, "Hey, I think this company's kind of an emerging one." So, I do kind of have my finger on the pulse, and Kelly's probably nicer than I am, but I just don't see it. I think they talk a big game, but the ones I have looked into couldn't even remotely get to high trust, I don't think, and it's not even on their radar. So I do feel like we're way ahead of the ball game, and I think that all the things that we've talked about today, it's really the factor, and it sets us apart when we're talking to clients. So I'm going to sum it up by, I just want to do a quick kind of closing remarks, and but I do want to say I appreciate from the position I'm in talking to I talk to investors, I talk to clients, I talk to other companies, and it's a really, really good place to be in, to know that the team we have, Kelly, what you've done, Zach, what you've done, Tara, what you're doing to work with compliance. I truly think we've got the best team in place right now, and I'd put us up against anyone. And you know what? I am biased. I get it. But I think a verification is these assessments that we go through, Zach, Kelly, the things that you're doing consistently, to where compliance is somewhat, it's easy for me to say is easy, but it's only because we've got all these processes in place. And I'll just tell you, I think that we can validate that we're that good in compliance.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm biased, but I think we can put our money where our mouth is.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. We can back up with what we say.
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
Yeah. So, so Kelly, just wrapping us up, what is your takeaway that you would want clients who are gonna see this, and possible clients that are going to see this podcast? What is your takeaway that you'd like them to take away from seeing this?
Just how passionate we are about our, not only internally with our own people, but with externally with our clients and customers, how important they are to us, and that we want to keep everything secure and adhere to all regulations while still making sure that they are stable and able. We're there for them.
Yep.
Just like we are for our own people. They become our family. And, I want them to know that they are in very good hands with Jorie.
Yep. Love it. Love it. Zach, what are your wrap up thoughts?
You're putting me on the spot
Yeah,
here.
I know. Yeah, we're going off script here.
Yep. I would say, usually I'm not speechless. I'm trying to think.
Well, let me toss it over to Tara. Tara, what are your wrap up thoughts? Just in general. I mean, people are going to see this and go, okay, I think Jorie maybe is this compliant AI company. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they see that, like Kelly said, our passion for compliance. I've never worked in compliance outside of Jorie, or had my finger in it, and so to have that now and see the full circle of, oh, that's why we're doing something. Oh, that's why we're doing it, to make sure that we're compliant. And I love when I run something by Chris, and he said, "Well, have you run it by Zach and Kelly for compliance yet?" And I'm like, "Well, they're my next step." But it's also fun to see the reason behind why we're doing it. Yeah. It's not just because Chris wants to drive everyone crazy. It's because he wants us to be a great company that keeps everyone safe and all the regulations that we need to be following.
Yeah. So now I'm not the only one that's annoying. I can say, talk to Kelly and Zach, and they're annoying too.
It's true.
They're annoying. They're going to support me. All right, Zach, back to you. Your thoughts, wrapping this up.
So I would say, for anyone out there that's listening, don't let us just tell you we're SOC 1, SOC 2, HITRUST, HIPAA compliant, certified. Let us prove it to you. And let us do that by implementing our automation.
I like it. There you go.
Yeah.
That's probably a wrap right there. I think that closes us out. Thanks, Kelly, for being on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Thank you for letting our security dog at least be present for at least bark.
My apologies.
No, I love it.
He's ever compliant, diligent.
There
He thought he heard something.
There you go.
We're a pet friendly company.
Yeah, we are. Zach, thank you for doing all that you do and keeping compliance in mind as you're doing it. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Tara, thank you for jumping in and being our guest podcast person that you didn't even know you were going to be.
Yes.
And always, we're always thankful for Derek Magante, who put all of this on and put it together, and it's the reason we can do this. So, hey, Derek, lean in and say hi to everybody. There you go. He's always behind the scenes, but he makes this flawless and easy. So, thanks, everyone.